So 2006 Ford Escape 3-liter, all in pieces. The bottom of the engine, there's the block of the 3-liter engine. It has this engine cradle that bolts to the bottom. It's like the bottom half of the block basically, and you can see where the crankshaft was in there. I had a terrible rod knock. The rod bearings shot. Needed to replace the crankshaft, so I had to take this thing off. Turns out Ford does not carry these bolts anymore. These are torque to yield bolts. You cannot reuse them. They lose their strength. They have this shoulder part here. It's kind of like a big rubber band basically. You're supposed to tension them and then they expand and contract a little bit with aluminum. It's a clever thing, but these bolts, these particular bolts, Ford does not carry. You can't get them. And these other smaller bolts here, Ford carries, but they're 25 bucks a piece, and there's 8 of them. Not worth it. The good news is these bolts, these 8 bolts that you see here, I gotta pan out a little bit here. There's like 8 of them in a row here. Are very similar to a GM bolt, which I have right here. It's actually a GM rod cap bolt. There's the GM part number. It's almost a dead ringer. It's like a millimeter shorter. It'll work perfectly, and the thread difference doesn't matter. I looked at it when you put it in here. That those extra threads on the Ford bolt, the original one, don't even engage. So not a concern. These are like $3 a piece. That's 25 bucks a piece. If who knows how long you can get them for. So these bolts that you can't get and you need are very close to a. I got head bolts. These are cylinder head bolts. This is a rod cap bolt from GM. This is a cylinder head bolt from 80s Ford Escort 1.9 liter engine. It doesn't matter. They're all torque to yield bolts. You know, it's not special. The threads have to be the same. The Escort cylinder head bolt is a little bit long. You can see it there, but anyway, they're like $3 a piece, or not even that in a set. If you cut it shorter, like I did, and grind it down and tap the end of it to the right length, and then you take a hardened bolt, put it upside down, weld it on there, and then grind it back down a little bit, you now have a replacement for this impossible to get torque to yield bolt. The only problem is it's a little bit too tall. I noticed these studs that you see. You can see like it's gonna, this area right here on my finger is a little bit too tall. I thought about grinding down the bolt head a little bit more, but I really want it to stay strong. I don't want to weaken this too much. I also MIG welded instead of gas weld because I didn't want to weaken, again, lose the temper or tension on this bolt. So little electric MIG welding didn't hurt it. And anyway, after you do the replacement of the bolts, there's a big steel windage tray here. As a matter of fact, it's right here. It's very heavy steel. You probably can get away without it, frankly, but I wanted it in there. I think it's structural. I think it's going to be in there a little deeper. There's a couple spots here where I think I might have to grind down a little bit just to make it fit deeper. And as far as the welding goes, I'll show you my little clever welding rig. I did a test with some spare torque to yield bolts. It's very easy to do. I figured the way I did it anyway, I ground down the bolt, the smaller bolt, halfway down. I didn't grind anything on the larger bolt, so the two heads match up. After I was done, I did a little destructive testing. I torqued it till it broke, and it was kind of strong, but not strong enough. So subsequently, I did a little more deeper welding, a little more grinding for the next ones. So that was mostly instructive, but you can see my little test rig to hook it up and weld up both sides. I wanted to get in there nice and deep. There we go.